Namhlanje nina besilo usuku olukhulu kakhulu esizweni nasemlandweni kaZulu. Namhlanje ngiyanethembisa Zulu omnyama ukuthi kusukela namhlanje uZulu uhlangene nina besilo. Indawo siyisizwe nobuhlungu esisuka kubo namhlanje uNkulunkulu nezinyanya zalapha ekhaya abanikazi besihlalo abanikazi besizwe ngiyabusisa ukuba bebe nathi futhi besingathe ngoba sesingena kuleli qabunga elisha okusho ukuthi ngizimisele njengengonyama kaZulu ukuhola isizwe sikaMageba isizwe sikababa.
Let's explore this story further with Professor Bheki Mngomezulu. Prof, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I mean, the King talks about unity, and this is one of the difficult tasks that lies ahead for him, to be able to unite the family, especially given what we've been seeing in the public domain. How challenging is this going to be for him going forward?
Good afternoon, my sister, and good afternoon to your viewers. You are absolutely right. This is a daunting task for a number of reasons. One, the king has ascended to the throne under very tight conditions whereby the family is not united. So that is the first challenge that the king will have to face, because he will first have to unite the family. And then secondly, going to the Zulu nation, he has to unite the different political parties or people who belong to different political parties, because by being the king of the Zulu nation, you are not partisan, you are therefore the father of everyone. So that is the second challenge. It will be to unite the nation after having united the family. But the first hurdle will be to bring the family together, because once the royal family is united, then it will be easier to unite the nation once everybody else read from the same script. And then, of course, there will always be other challenges that are facing the country, which we are looking up to the government to address those matters. But of course, the king cannot also be insulated from those kinds of challenges because he will have to take care of his own people. So it's a multiple layered list of challenges that the king has to face. And then, of course, working with his nation and with his family should be able to deal with those.
I'm going to get to the political implications in just a moment, because as you say, a lot of people always say that the king should be above politics. But before we even get into politics, let's start with yesterday. I mean, we're seeing one queen in attendance, Gamafu, you know, and he even acknowledging her to say that you are the only one of my mothers who are actually present. What are we reading there into that particular, you know, situation where she's the only one in attendance, and yet we saw two of them at his wedding just a few months ago?
No, that should not come as a surprise, my sister, because you recall that the late King KwaZulu had 6 queens, or 6 wives. And then, of course, with the passing of Mama Nfombi Madlamini, who came from Eswatini, then he was left with the 5. And then of the 5, as you correctly pointed out, when we went to the Maisela family, there were 2 of them, and then this time around there was only 1, Gamafu. So that tells you a couple of things. One, we know that the week before King Misuzulu entered the kraal, or entered the enclave, as it were, there was another ceremony where Princess Magate did something similar. So then obviously that alone means that some members of the family would ordinarily have gone with Princess Magate. And then, as if that was not enough, on the eve of King Misuzulu entering the enclave, then we heard that there is another one now who is being suggested, that is Prince Buzabazi. And then he was introduced by the brothers of the late king. So which means that what you saw happening when the king went to Kamayisela. Then it's different this time around. There are two possibilities. One, it could be that the second wife, who is the mother of Prince Buzabazi, would have decided not to attend this particular event, or some would have said that there is too much commotion happening and they don't want to be aligned with any quote-unquote faction in the royal family, and therefore decided to stay away. Because some of the people who didn't attend yesterday's event did also not attend Princess Magate's event when he entered the crawl, entered the enclave, as he put it. So the reality of the matter then is the dynamics now are different from what they were 2-3 months before. So which means the situation has gotten worse than it was. Then it is why I'm saying that the current king now, King Misuzulu, has a lot of work to do to try and bring together all those different factions. And so it won't be an easy task, given the fact that they all believe that what they are doing is right, even though a culture dictates what needs to happen.
Prof, there's always this question that I have, especially when you see things happen in the manner in which they are right now. Umkhandlu is there for some of these difficult decisions to be taken. I wonder, where does it place the Royal Council in such situations? What should they be doing, ideally, if they're even there?
You know, my sister, I'll answer your question by making two examples. If you have a president, the president will have advisors, and those advisors occupy different positions or they have different strengths. That is one example that I can show. And then the other one, if you look at how Eswatini operates, you have what is called the inner council, Likoko Lagangwane. And then, of course, after that, you have Libandla Lagangwane, which is a pickup body. All of those people are responsible to advise the king. And then in the first example, the advisors are responsible to advise the president. So on this matter, which we are talking about right now, there is indeed Umkhandlu, and ordinarily, these are the people who are supposed to lead the way and then, of course, lead the nation to the right direction. But then if they themselves are factional, in the same manner that we've been talking about factions in the ANC. If the NEC of the ANC is factional, the NW is factional, the PEC is factional, you cannot see order there. Then similarly here, if Umkhandlu is not reading from the same script, or they are not opening this, the new leaf, as the king said yesterday, so it means that we'll have those differences. So the reality of the matter, therefore, is that there is a dereliction of duty by Umkhandlu, because under normal circumstances, these are the people who are supposed to work together with the Prime Minister of the Zulu Nation, that is Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. If they're working together, we wouldn't be where we are. So it means someone has, in fact, dropped the ball, and then therefore others have found the space and they've occupied it, and that has landed us to where we are right now.
Very briefly then, as we wrap up, I'd like us to go back to that earlier conversation and look at, you know, people saying, you've said it as well, that the king should be above politics. We saw, you know, in the lead up to this particular moment, some accusing, you know, the prince, Mangosuthu Buthelezi, the prime minister of the AmaZulu nation, of almost like monopolizing, you know, the thrones. Some saying that politics are now at play there. At the same time, others were saying, no, it looks like different political parties want to get closer. How then is he going to then, must he navigate these waters? Because there are those who are going to try and seek that he be on their side, particularly when the elections are close.
On that one, my sister, I'll give you a very simple answer. The question we should be asking right now is, who is the current traditional prime minister of the Zulu nation? The answer you get there is a very simple one. It is Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. So which means that everything that happens, the royal family will take a decision, but the person who has a responsibility to relay that message to the nation is Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. So he is basically occupying that position, not as the former leader of the IFP, and not as the president emeritus of the IFP, and not as the king of the Buthelezi clan, and not any other position, but he's doing that in his capacity as the Prime Minister of the Zulu Nation. So it means anyone who will succeed him in the event that he's replaced will be doing exactly the same thing. And if it so happens that the person is aligned to a particular political party, then people are going to say that that political party is now in charge. As for the latter part of your question, that everyone wants to be closer to the king, I mean, it's a reality. People, the late Manjenga used to say, abantu balandela ogovana babo, basically meaning that you know on which side your bread is buttered. So if getting closer to the king, you think that is going to basically elevate you, so be it, you'll go for it, obviously. So that is something we cannot run away from. It's a reality of life. Everyone will do that once in a while.
Prof, it's always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. As we look at this road ahead, it's going to be interesting then to see how this one unfolds. Do appreciate it. That is Professor Bheki Mngomezulu, a political analyst, as we were looking at, the issues around the pre-coronation, rituals and also, ceremonies and the factional battles that we've also seen at play, when it comes to the AmaZulu royal household. And we'll also be in conversation with a legal analyst now to look at the particular legal challenge that we saw in the morning. Have we seen the end of it, or are we still going to see more? So let's leave it there for now, and we'll come back to this particular conversation.